I had become very aware of the position I was going to have in this world, but I was willing to accept it because I was just going to create my own anyway. It started with a pencil and an idea and would create crazy worlds which felt bigger than me, bigger than my fears. One thing I will always be grateful despite the loneliness was how I was able to develop a passion for books. My dad would pick out some random books every Saturday morning, which became a ritual at some point, and that would be kind of like the joy of my week. I was just so pumped and excited to read more books because I had discovered this world that just felt so magical. Each book was a door to a place so different from the life I knew and yet still very familiar. You would have worlds described as joyful and lively and, all of those positive things. You would have the protagonist who would usually be described as shy, misunderstood, a loner, everything that I was. So how do I get the answer? Like, how do I get my happy ending if they were able to have one? I remember one day at school, kids just have random topics sometimes. The topic was death, something I haven't really heard of before. I kept wondering, like, why do people talk about that? What's even death? I was just so freaked out by them not being freaked out. I went up to my dad crying, telling him about that conversation I had and how I was so scared of this concept of death, and basically telling him about the situation. Like, people have been saying that we're gonna die. Is that true? He gave me one of the most wholesome answer I could ever get as a child. It stuck with me till this day. I was 5 and I'm 24 now, so that's how impactful his words were. He said to me that there was a God above that would take care of me like no one else did ever, that he would give me everything my heart desires. And I was sold, y'all. I was sold. I was so happy to hear that because I don't know, I was just so excited to be able to access to all of that because it reminded me of those worlds I would read in books. It reminded me of that glimpse of hope I tend to have whenever I would open a book. But I kept wondering, why does happiness seem to exist everywhere except in my world?
On your way, please.
I know books. I have 186 of them at home.
Comic books.
No, I've read Treasure Island, The Last of the Mohicans, Wizard of Oz, Lord of the Rings, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Tarzan.
Whoa. Come. So, who are you running away from?
That's when I kind of made this conclusion for myself that I realized the position that I was going to have while being in this world, so might as well just create my own. My fictional world became my sanctuary. In those places, I wasn't just regular, I was a leader. I made sure to create worlds where people would see themselves and where even the loners were valued and accepted. And over the time, it became something bigger for me. It taught me about hope. It taught me about resilience, the possibility of transformation. They gave me a glimpse of what life could be and not what it just was. And in a way, they helped me rewrite my story, turning my loneliness into a foundation for a dream. And nothing could take that away from me.